Welcome back to Why We Buy It. My name's Kobe, and this is one for our watch enthusiasts. And the question I want to ask you today is, when you decide to buy a watch, who are you buying it for? This is really key because I find a lot of new watch collectors make the mistake of buying watches for other people instead of for themselves. And although these are watches that will end up in their watch collections and their watch boxes, they aren't watches that they're really buying for themselves. They're buying it for either the appreciation or admiration of others. And the first thing you need to understand when it comes to watch collecting is that there are very few of us. There aren't that many people that collect watches. We are in the significant minority. Okay? Just because you're into watches and you decide that it's something you want to collect and kind of pursue as a hobby doesn't mean that everybody else does. And even those that kind of support what you're doing might not be that interested overall. And if you buy watches assuming other people are interested and that they're going to know that that's a particular watch, then you're buying it for the wrong reason. You should really be buying watches because you like them, because they appeal to you, not because they appeal to the masses as a lot of other YouTubers would have you believe. It's a small number of people that collect watches. Now, unless someone like myself goes ahead and explains to you or says to you blatantly that very few people are going to recognize the majority of brands on your wrist, it could take you a very long time to realize that. It really could. Because the majority of YouTubers will lead you to believe that there are some well-known brands with a ton of heritage, right, that have been around for a long time, whether that be in reality or revitalized in some way, that the average individual is going to notice those watches on your wrist. They're not. They really aren't. There are only a select few brands that people really recognize, and I'm talking Rolex, maybe Cartier, because of the design of a Cartier, right? Seiko can get noticed. Casio, especially when it comes to G-Shocks, right? These are watches that the average person may recognize. But when you get into things like Omega, Breitling, something like Murado, Longines, like the majority of brands that have exceptional heritage are not being recognized by the average individual. They really aren't. And you'll see videos by YouTubers that will list off, say, watches that let other people know you're serious about watches. When they say other people, they're really talking about other watch collectors. They're talking about that small minority, right? Watches that, although are not expensive, can earn you some respect because of the heritage behind them. That's a real stretch. That one's really reaching, in my opinion, because, like I said, if it's not one of those absolutely recognizable brands, then everyone's going to see a watch on your wrist and just assume it's another watch on your wrist. They're not going to assume it's anything special. It could be special to you, but don't buy a watch hoping it's special to others, okay? Maybe you've got a watch that you enjoy wearing to, say, a watch group, right? Like I'm a member of the Red Bar group here in Toronto, and I might wear something a little bit different to one of those meetings because I'm with a number of watch enthusiasts, right? They may actually know something odd on my wrist or at least take interest in something odd on my wrist. But as far as wearing it day to day and hoping somebody is taken by it, there's a slim chance of that. I've mentioned it in previous videos. One of the watches that gets the most attention of all the watches I've owned ever is the Seagull 1963. And the reason it gets that attention is because it's an interesting array of colors. It's bold. It stands out. It's a chronograph, so it has a little more going on, but it's not because people think it's exceptionally special or anything. It's just different, so they notice it, right? I've only had the Wise 88 Shades of Thailand for a short period of time, but I wouldn't be surprised if this gets noticed by a few people just because it's got a number of bold colors represented. It could grab your attention because of the colors. And also, if I have it on the bracelet, which I don't today, that bracelet has a lot of polish. It really picks up the light. That can get attention. But for the most part, people will see it because of that, but they won't automatically assume that it's really something special. They just might appreciate the look of it. And even the majority of watch collectors aren't really aware of Wise, right? Wise is sort of a fringe company in the spectrum of things when it comes to the watch community, because there are only a few YouTubers, myself included, that talk about Wise. It's out of Thailand, which isn't a hub for horology, and the only reason it's gotten some traction at all is because they do make exceptionally good watches for the price, but a lot of people aren't going to know that. So sometimes I've worn a Wise watch to a group and they're like, which watch is that? They don't recognize it. Because even amongst the watch community, you're still going to see a lot of the classics. You're going to see a lot of Seiko. You might see some Citizen. You're definitely going to see some Swatch Group watches, right? The Tissot's, the Hamiltons. These are relatively affordable watches that have a little bit of heritage. So right away, people assume they should be recognizable, but that isn't the case unless you're a watch enthusiast. It really isn't. Most people aren't going to recognize a Hamilton Murph. They're just not going to recognize it. It looks like, to most people, any other watch, whether it be Citizen, Casio, Seiko, what have you, Timex, it doesn't stand out much more than that, right? The Tissot PRX is one of the best-selling watches over the last couple of years, but to be honest, I don't find it to be anything that special. I just think it was a very well-marketed watch that Tissot did a good job of engaging the watch community to kind of sell it for them. So as a result of that, a lot of people purchased the Tissot PRX thinking it was a watch that would be respected by other people, whether they were enthusiasts or not. It's just not the case. It really isn't. For my money, I put a Tissot PRX alongside a Citizen Ciosa, and I'll take the Ciosa every day of the week and twice on Sunday because it's just a nicer looking watch. It might not be a Swiss watch, but that's another thing that most people won't notice unless you tell them so, right? That's just a fact. So when you're looking at purchasing your next watch, really think first. Am I buying it for me? Or am I buying it for the acceptance of others? Because if that's the case, understand that it's only a few people that you might not even know and may never meet that you're actually buying it for. Do yourself a solid. Buy the next watch for yourself. Buy something you like, not what other people tell you to buy. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. If you want to see a little bit more, we do have the membership channel open now. So if you want to give back a little and see some behind the scenes, some off topic, maybe some candid videos, then consider becoming a member. And we've got a big draw coming up February 1st. So the few members we may have will have a very good chance of winning on that day. Till next time.